Hey, welcome back to session 9 of the Best Life, Your Best Life Ever, which is our series on the 10 Commandments. We're looking in this session at the 9th commandment, which is summarized in the phrase, you shall not lie, but it says it a little bit differently in the Bible. Let me read it to you here. Exodus chapter 20, verse 16. It says this, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not bear false witness, or you shall not lie. Hey, lying is at the very core of sin. You know, Satan is a liar. He is the father of lies. He lies to you and to me all the time about how God thinks about us, about what's going on. Listen, whenever you feel condemnation, you can rest assured it is not from God. The Holy Spirit will bring conviction in your life because He wants to lead you out of something. Condemnation wants to push your face further into it. The father of lies. So God hates lying. God hates untruth. Let me read to you from Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 through 19, an important some wisdom here from the Lord. Proverbs 6, verses 16 through 19. There are 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to Him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among the brethren. 2 of the 7 things that God hates are about lying. God is about truth. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So when we bear false witness, when we say things that aren't true about anybody in any situation, but certainly and most specifically against somebody else, those things are really an abomination to the Lord. Now, when we talk about lying, there's a lot of discussion about, situational lying and all that kind of stuff. We could go a lot of different ways, and perhaps your group will want to talk about that in your discussion time together. There's kind of that exaggeration part that really in a form is lying. It's kind of like what us preachers do, is the stories, the more we tell them, they get bigger and they get funnier and probably a little bit further away from the truth. We really don't need to do that. Listen, the fact of the matter is, truth is good. A good story is a good story without much embellishment. So there's that kind of line where it's just kind of making the story better. There's politician line, by the way, which is kind of that line that says it's basically just rhetoric without any intention of following through on what they say. It's just to get votes, Well, that's frustrated more than one of us as we've tried to participate in the political process, and we realize that too many times our politicians are just saying words. They can't be trusted. That's a form of lying as well, too. There's the kind of the lying that we do when we're caught in the act, when we're caught, and we lie, oh no, I didn't do that, it wasn't me. We lie because we want to avoid the pain of facing reality. We lie because we don't want to pay the price, so we come up with the lie real briefly. It's kind of our form of denial and self-protection, and it is at the core of our heart of who we are. We find ourselves lying, not telling the truth. No, it's not me, it's him. I didn't do anything. I wasn't there. Hey, most people lie to cover up things. You could talk to any law enforcement person. They have incredible and elaborate stories about how criminals or at least alleged criminals have tried to cover up some of their lying. And some of those stories can become pretty funny. Then there's actually planned lying, where you actually plan a charade, you plan a con, you plan to take advantage of somebody, and it is your intention to mislead them. This is one of those things where it's so offensive to God and so unnecessary, because if we can't win people with truth, if we can't win them with honesty and integrity, then we need to rethink what the intentions of our life really are. So lying is an offense to God. It is an expression of truly some of the brokenness of our humanity. So we want to be men and women of truth. You can be a truthful and an honest person without being brutal. Let me read to you Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. It's a good verse. It says this. It says, "But speaking the truth in love, let's grow up into all things in Him who is the head, Christ." We can speak the truth in a loving way. You know, all of us have been put in situations, we've been asked questions where if we really told somebody the exact truth, it might not go over very well. There are ways to say things in a loving way. There are ways to not say some things sometimes that are just going to hurt or offend somebody. So we can speak the truth in love. I also like it. There's another verse written by Paul, Galatians chapter 4, verse 6, in talking about how we speak and how we are with one another. Galatians 4:6 says this, says, "Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one." So men and women, when we talk about speaking the truth, we talk about being people of integrity, we can do so in a gracious way.